The progress of spring. Alfred, Lord Tennyson. The ground flame of the crocus breaks the mold. Fair spring slides hither o'er the southern sea, wavers on her thin stem the snowdrop cold that trembles not to kisses of the bee. Come spring, for now from all the dripping eaves the spear of ice has wept itself away, and hour by hour unfolding woodbine leaves o'er his uncertain shadow droops the day. She comes. The loosened rivulets run. The frost bead melts upon her golden hair. Her mantle, slowly greening in the sun, now wraps her close, now arching leaves her bare to breaths of balmier air. Up leaps the lark, gone wild to welcome her, about her glance the tits, and shriek the jays, before her skims the jubilant woodpecker, the linnet's bosom blushes at her gaze, while round her brows a woodland culver flits, watching her large light eyes and gracious looks, and in her open palm a halcyon sits patient the secret splendor of the brooks. Come spring. She comes on waste and wood, on farm and field, but enter also here, diffuse thyself it will throw all my blood, and, though thy violets sicken into sear, lodge with me all the year. Once more a downy drift against the breaks, self-darkened in the sky, descending slow. But gladly see I throw the wavering flakes yon blanching apricot like snow in snow. These will thine eyes not brook in forced paths, on their perpetual pine, nor round the beach. They fuse themselves to little spicy baths, solved in the tender blushes of the peach. They lose themselves and die on that new life that gems the hawthorn line. Thy gallant lilies wave and put them by, and out once more in varnished glory shine thy stars of celandine. She floats across the hamlet. Heaven lowers, but in the tearful splendor of her smiles I see the slow thickening chestnut towers fill out the spaces by the barren tiles. Now past her feet the swallow circling flies, a clamorous cuckoo stoops to meet her hand. Her light makes rainbows in my closing eyes, I hear a charm of song through all the land. Come, spring. She comes, and earth is glad to roll her north below thy deepening dome, but ere thy maiden birk be wholly clad, and these low bushes dip their twigs in foam, make all true hearths thy home. Across my garden, and the thicket stirs, the fountain pulses high in sunnier jets, the bass-cap warbles, and the turtle purrs, the starling claps his tiny castanets. Still round her forehead wheels the woodland dove, and scatters on her throat the sparks of dew, the kingcup fills her footprint, and above broaden the glowing isles of vernal blue. Hail ample presence of a queen, bountiful, beautiful, apparelled gay, whose mantle, every shade of glancing green, flies back in fragrant breezes to display a tunic white as May. She whispers, from the south I bring you balm, for on a tropic mountain was I born, while some dark dweller by the cocoa palm watched my far meadows owned with airy morn. From under rose a muffled moan of floods. I sat beneath a solitude of snow. There no one came, the turf was fresh, the woods plunged gulf on gulf through all their veils below. I saw beyond their silent tops the steaming marshes of the scarlet cranes, the slant seas leaning o'er the mangrove copse, and summer basking in the sultry plains about a land of canes. Then from my vapor girdle soaring forth I scaled the buoyant highway of the birds, and drank the dews and drizzle of the north, that I might mix with men, and hear their words on pathwayed plains. For while my hand exults within the bloodless heart of lowly flowers, to work old laws of love to fresh results, through manifold effect of simple powers, I too would teach the man beyond the darker hour to see the bright, that his fresh life may close as it began, the still fulfilling promise of a light narrowing the bounds of night. So wed thee with my soul, that I may mark the coming year's great good and varied ills, and new developments, whatever spark be struck from out the clash of warring wills. Or whether, since our nature cannot rest, the smoke of war's volcano burst again from hoary deeps that veiled the changeful west, old empires, dwellings of the kings of men. Or should those fail, that hold the helm, while the long day of knowledge grows and warms, and in the heart of this most ancient realm a hateful voice be uttered, and alarms sounding to arms. To arms. A simpler, saner lesson might he learn who reads thy gradual process, holy spring. Thy leaves possess the season in their turn, and in their time thy warblers rise on wing. How surely glidest thou from March to May, and changest, breathing it, the sullen wind, thy scope of operation, day by day, larger and fuller, Like the human mind, thy warmths from bud to bud accomplish that blind motto in the seed, and men have hopes, which race the restless blood that after many changes may succeed life, which is life indeed.